Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Notice anything different about me? I'll give you a moment. If you guessed that I got a haircut, you'd be wrong, because actually I got my NaNoWriMo winter shirt because I won NaNoWriMo. If you missed my vlog, I will post that in the description below. But yes, I won NaNoWriMo. I'll spare you all the details that are already in my vlog, but in case you're too lazy to watch the whole thing, I will just give a brief summary of how the month went down. This year, NaNoWriMo I found to be exceptionally difficult. It was probably a combination of things, partially due to just the nature of how the year went for a lot of people. But also, I don't know, I just felt like I was dealing with some of my own mental struggles and getting through things on my own. So just everything combined made NaNoWriMo very difficult for me. I did manage to win, which gives me a great feeling of accomplishment, I feel like, that has really kind of helped me get through this last month of 2020, but it was a lot harder than last year. Also, last year I had more of an idea of a story to go off of, whereas this year I was kind of going in blind with just a general concept and a few characters, and it ended up working out okay for the sake of NaNoWriMo, though I'm realizing as I'm going back over some of the stuff that I wrote that it's really not in very much of a usable state at this point. I feel like the best thing for this story is just to let it rest for a long time until I finally build up the nerve to go back into it again, because a lot is gonna have to change before I can really go about using that or publishing it or anything. I thought I'd talk a little about my expectation versus reality for this last year. Last year, I pretty much depended on my bullet journal. And I used my bullet journal all through the year as well, though there were a couple of months of time where I would stop using it and then I'd have to catch back up and all of that. But I used my bullet journal most of the time to keep track of important dates and all of that. So when I did NaNoWriMo, that was just sort of an extension of that. I tracked my progress, I gave myself a little sticker chart, and if you've seen any of my videos, you'll kind of see some of those things, and I attempted it again this year. However, it did not end up being as motivational as it was last year. I feel like for this year it was just an extra thing that I had to do, and it added to the difficulty of keeping up on everything that I was supposed to be doing. I had NaNoWriMo videos that I was trying to post and edit, and trying to come up with new ideas for videos, and trying to remember to vlog and then edit the vlog, and all of that was a big challenge for me. So trying to keep up with the bullet journal, even as bare bones as I had it, just didn't seem like something that was all that motivational, except for maybe the first day or two. I'll show you how far I got in my bullet journal though. It's a little embarrassing, but my last time updating my word count calendar in my bullet journal was November 8th. That's as far as I got, and I never did it again. I didn't even put in my 20,000 sticker. That was all I did. I'll probably at some point go back and like put the rest of the stickers and things in, because like I may have said in a previous video, I am sort of a completionist and it bothers me to leave things half done like this. So I'll probably go back in and finish it when I feel like it. But yeah, it didn't end up giving me that sense of satisfaction that I had been hoping for, unfortunately. Also, the things that I expected to be difficult were the things that I found difficult last year, which last year my greatest difficulty was keeping myself motivated to write on the days where I didn't feel like writing. And I mean, I did deal with that some this year, because I mean, it's kind of just expected with NaNoWriMo. You're not going to want to write every single day for an entire month, and you're not going to have the motivation to write 1,667 words on all of those days. There is going to be a bit of mental fatigue, and there is going to be that moment when you just feel like you don't want to write and you have to anyway. But I strangely found that that was less my problem this year. Probably just because I was expecting that, so I was, I guess, more willing to put in that extra bit of effort, and I was more willing to sit in that uncomfortable feeling for longer than I was last year. But I found the difficulty was with actually coming up with the story, and I think as much as I tried to make this into a story that I liked during Preptober, it didn't end up being what I expected. The story has changed so much between then and now, and part of me was clinging on to this idea of the story that I had coming out of high school that I tried to work on then, and then the other part of me was trying to twist it and turn it into something new that I found interesting, and somehow the two just really didn't work together, and the story was not very compelling. I did find some good things, and I wrote some good things that I will go back to at some point because I think there is a story in there somewhere that I can use. But yeah, that ended up being my biggest difficulty, whereas last year I had the story figured out from day one. I mean, I added scenes and stuff, and I had to put in some subplots that I hadn't had planned, but it was just a very different experience from this year from last year. Now that NaNoWriMo is done, I am left with the question, what comes next? What am I gonna do with my life now that I don't have to write a book every single day? I do have a few goals for 2021. I'm not gonna call them resolutions because I feel like that's really final and like almost more pressure than I need there to be. But I'm loosely setting some goals that I do want to accomplish, but I'm not gonna hold myself to a time frame. I'm just going to keep my options open and try my best to achieve these goals. So, number one is my writing and editing goals. I now have 2 books that I've written, and I don't know what my plans are with either one of them. My book from last year called Stronger, I do want to eventually publish. That is the first story idea that I've ever taken beyond the first 3 chapters and some notes, and actually completed a draft. I still have a great attachment to that story, and I do think that it has a lot of potential. In its current state, it definitely needs a lot of work, and so I would love to, during maybe Camp NaNoWriMo, go back and, reread over it, make some edits, see what I can do to whip it into shape. I don't want to set the goal that I'm going to completely edit it or even finish an entire other draft, because I found that through this year, none of my goals tend to go how I expect them to go. I end up setting these strict goals and these rules for myself to follow that I end up breaking and then feeling bad about that I broke the rule, and then I end up just sort of giving up. So I don't want that for this year. I want to leave my options open. I do want to pursue this editing process and go into it with an open mind and see where it leads me, but I don't want to hold myself to a deadline of when I need this to be done, because to me, the story and telling the story correctly is more important than getting a book done on time. So that's just me. I mean, if you're thinking of making like a career out of writing, that might not work, but for me, this is just something that I do for fun, and if I'm not enjoying this process, or at least a little bit, because I mean, it's not going to be fun every step of the way, then there's really no point to it. Next up, I have more writing goals outside of the books that I've finished. I was supposed to take a break all through December and January from writing. It was supposed to be getting over the burnout from NaNoWriMo and, giving myself time to relax and unwind and not have to think about writing before I try to jump into another project. And then it was supposed to be February that I was going to do a reread, March that I was going to plan out my next edit of last year's NaNoWriMo, and then April, Camp NaNoWriMo, I was going to start my edit. Well, of course, halfway through December, inspiration struck, and I wanted to take a break. I really did. I wanted to just relax, and this, while I was in the shower, inspiration struck, and it would not leave me alone, and I basically ran from the shower to my room as fast as I could so that I could write this idea down before I forgot it, because it's a really good one. I mean, not wanting to toot my own horn or anything, but I really think that this story idea has a lot of potential, even more than either of the stories that I've written already. It just gives me a really deep sense of nostalgia from the books that I used to read in high school, because that's really what got me into reading, were those books that I would go into the library at lunch and check out 3 books and then read them all, and the very next day come back and get 3 new books. And the ones that I really loved, that really stuck with me, just gave me this sense that I really can't describe, but this feeling that I had when I read them. And I get this same feeling from this story idea. And the more I wrote down, the more I started thinking, is this already a book? This sounds so much like a book that I've read. But it wasn't in a way that it seemed unoriginal. It was just that nostalgic feeling that I had that was the same. So I'm not going to talk too much about that story idea because, I don't want to give anything away, but I don't know, I might end up talking more about it as the story progresses and all of that, but for now, just know that I have a really good idea and I'm really excited to work on it. I have no immediate plans for how that's going to happen, but that is a plan that I have for this next year. Next up is my YouTube goals, which I don't have many at the moment. I have been enjoying having a YouTube channel, and I've been enjoying uploading videos here and there. If you'll notice in all my videos at the end card literally says more videos when I feel like it. And that's kind of where I'm gonna keep it. I don't want to commit to a schedule or to a specific type of video. I'm just kind of wanting to use it to push myself forward in my different goals and the things that I enjoy and the things that I enjoy to film. So you may end up seeing some videos of my writing process or my editing process, or you may end up seeing other types of videos from some of my other goals for the year. I mean, the first of which is I plan on moving out of my parents' house, so I might make some videos about that process. Along with that, there are a few other smaller goals that I'm hoping to accomplish that I might want to film as well. I hope to get my room into a much more livable state. I'll insert a clip of what it looks like now for reference. Also, I'm hoping to lose weight. I did manage to lose quite a bit of weight this year just from having more free time at home. I'm hoping to just kind of keep my momentum going, maybe pick it up a notch and get a little healthier. I'm also hoping to work more on my sewing. I have several projects that I need to get done, and even maybe some art projects. I have that painting in the corner that I did of Catherine Morland from Northanger Abbey. If you're a Jane Austen fan, you'll know who that is. But I painted that with the assumption that I was going to make more from the other books. So I might film my process on that since it's a fairly easy painting process. So that might be kind of fun. I've also, ever since getting this new story idea, had the sudden inspiration to read back all of the books that I remember from high school loving so much. And so I might end up documenting my process with that, or talking about books. I mean, I've seen a lot of booktubers do that, and I've never really considered being a booktuber, but I don't know. I do plan on reading more this year. That's one of my goals, so maybe I'll talk a bit about the books that I read, or which ones that I would recommend to people. Overall, the things that I've learned this year have been that even though so many bad things happened, not just to the entire planet, but also just to me individually, with chronic pain, overall burnout, and difficulty with focus, I have gotten more done this year than I've ever gotten done. It's been my most productive year so far in my life. And as unpleasant as the year felt to experience, it does feel kind of good that I was able to get that much stuff done during the worst year of my life. Through all of this, I ended up with sort of an accidental motto, which turned out to be, "It's only hard. I can do hard." So I would love to see in the comments any lessons that you've learned throughout this year, or even just through NaNoWriMo, and what sort of things that you're hoping to achieve in the year 2021. I would also encourage you to make the promise to yourself to be okay with being uncomfortable just for a little while in order to achieve the things that you hope to. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would like to see from me this year. I obviously am not going to make any promises about what types of videos that I'm going to make, because I am going to leave it up to what I feel motivated to do at the time, because I want YouTube to be something that I enjoy and not something I feel obligated to do. But I am curious of what types of videos you would like to see. So let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video.